Welcome back to Daytime. You know, yoga is supposed to improve your body, your mind, and your soul. And when you think about all that relaxation that's going to happen, what better place to have the yoga class happen than in an art gallery surrounded by all that beauty? That's the idea behind a series of yoga and art workshops that our next guest is having. Meaghan Johnson joins us from Queen Street Yoga. Good to have you back.
Great to be back.
I think this is a fabulous idea, incorporating yoga and art together.
Well, me too. I've always found yoga or art studio or art galleries to be these places that already feel like kind of quiet and spacious and are there to sort of reflect as we look at art. So I usually, when I'm in an art gallery, I wish I could be doing yoga. So I've always had this idea to teach yoga in art galleries. And last summer, the KW Art Gallery in Kitchener approached me and asked if I wanted to teach yoga, and I was like, yes, I've actually been dreaming of teaching this workshop. So that's where it started, and then now it's moved on, and we've done one already and another one in 2 weeks at the Clay and Glass Gallery in Waterloo.
I think it's a great idea because one of the things with yoga is that focus that you need to be able to do the yoga properly, and you sort of have to take yourself out of the present moment and set everything aside for a little bit so that you can focus on what you're doing. Mm-hmm. To take yourself into a completely different venue, like an art gallery, and like you said, there's a serenity that happens there. And just surround yourself with all that beauty that you can focus on art, but then the art of the yoga yourself that you're doing. It seems like such a natural pairing in a lot of ways.
Well, for sure. And the other thing too is often we go into art galleries and we're still so, we have stress in our bodies or we're thinking about other things, and we go and look at a piece and we don't know what it's about and we find it kind of inaccessible. I've had students say that they often feel intimidated especially by contemporary art, because it's just like, what does it mean and how am I supposed to interpret this? And so what we try to do in these workshops is we take some time to first relieve some stress in the body and get really present and leave the stress of the day behind. But then also we look at some ways of perceiving, so ways of using the eyes in a different way, sort of a softer focus in the eyes, ways of experiencing what's actually happening in our bodies as we look at the pieces, so to actually open ourselves to be more receptive, so that when we look at the art, we're not caught up in our own stress, but we're actually able to see the pieces. And people have been saying, we've done this workshop 3 times now, that one of the women who works at the gallery said that she'd seen these pieces like hundreds of times because she works there. And this is the first time she actually felt like she actually saw the art.
We're seeing one of the classes that you've done in the art gallery, and it just looks beautiful. The other thing it allows people is the opportunity to get into some of these galleries that we tend to drive by when we're going from one place to another, but may not take the time to go in and actually appreciate what's there.
Well, so many people, you can see how gorgeous the clay and glass is from these photographs, and some of the people that came to this workshop had never been there before, and they were like, just to know that this resource exists, this beautiful building filled with incredible art, like the show that's coming up, the whole ceiling is going to be filled with glass birds. And I'm just so excited to feel like, being able to practice in this space that is just beyond beautiful, and actually take the time to interact with the pieces, I think, is we don't often give ourselves the gift to be with art. We just sort of, we think it's a luxury and we just pass on by.
Exactly. Well, and we're all such multitaskers. Think of this as the ultimate multitasking. You're not only doing something good for yourself, but that's exactly it. You're able to take in some of these fantastic exhibitions that we have going on right here in this area.
Right. And in a way, too, it allows us to unmultitask when we're looking at the work. We get to do nothing else but be with that piece of artwork, like learn how to let go of even trying to, I think often when we look at art, we think we already need to like judge it or have an interpretation of it, but this allows you just to be there and experience it for yourself and realize that your own experience is important, not just knowing something intellectual or smart to say about the piece, but just to get to actually relax and be with the art.
Exactly. Yeah. I have to tell you though, I did have just this much apprehension when I saw that you were doing yoga in an art gallery, because I'm thinking of me and I thought, wouldn't I just be the one in the middle of the clay and glass to do some move and you hear crash. But when you think of the venue that you have there, especially at the clay and glass, It is so spacious there. There's lots of room for this.
Well, you are not alone. I've had a few people who emailed. They're like, I'm going to knock over some gorgeous glass sculpture. But if you think about it, you're probably less likely in a yoga class because you're actually paying attention to your movements. You know, you're so present to what you're doing that there's a good chance you're less likely to knock anything over.
Well, your first class is coming up, or your most recent class is coming up, and it's this Saturday, or a week from this Saturday.
Yeah, April 16th.
It's April the 16th, and people need to pre-register for the class to be part of it?
Yeah, we prefer, it's a limited size that we can take, and we also have a minimum amount of people that we need to run it. So if people can call, they can either go through Queen Street Yoga website to read more about it, or they can call the Clay and Glass or email the Clay and Glass directly to register.
And how long is the class size itself? How long does it go?
It's 2 hours. It's 10 a.m. to 12 on a Saturday, so you know, not too early.
Well, and you know, you're right. You think about that 2 hours. You've got 2 hours to really take in something that's good for your body, but also to appreciate what's there. And really, with the exhibits that are on the Clay and Glass, you really need that 2 hours to be able to really take it in appropriately.
For sure. I often feel kind of stressed when I go to art galleries because there's so much and I try to squeeze it into a small period of time. So, and people can stay well beyond the workshop too if they want to still hang out in the gallery. So yeah, to actually give yourself the time to be in the space, it's a much more enjoyable experience than trying to fit it in, you know, in a short period of time.
Well, now my mind is sort of reeling now and thinking, you know where else she could go? You know where else she could go? And you're probably doing the same thing. You've got a series that are coming up.
Yeah, anytime I see a beautiful space, I think, oh, we should do some yoga in there. Because it's a really amazing way to connect with our community as well. Because not everyone, you know, knows about our studio either. So when we're in other communities, they get to know about us, and then it allows our yoga community to get to know about all these gorgeous spaces that I think Kitchener-Waterloo has some amazing architecture. So I'm always looking at different places and wishing we could do a class there.
This is exactly why you were named a Rogers Women of the Year. This is exactly, it's that type of innovation. And if you want to find out more, you can go to Meaghan's website, which is queenstreetyoga.com. You can get all of the different events that she's got coming up there. And I know you're always thinking, you've always got more ideas, and we'll be having you back soon to talk about some of them. Thanks for joining us.
Great, thanks, Susan.
We're back in just a moment. Stay with us.